Welcome to the Roy Rundown, a podcast designed to share insights and secrets from top experts in the college sports landscape, guiding you along your own path to success. Join us in real time as we build Roy, dive into the latest NIL trends, and uncover stories from the movers and shakers in the sports business space. You'll hear from an all-star lineup of guests, including athletes, coaches, agents, fans, athletic administrators, and more. Whether you're a student athlete, passionate fan, or anyone in between, this is your go-to resource for leveling up in the new age of college sports.
Brandon Brown here again with the Roy Rundown, Sports Insider for Roy Incorporated. It just seems to be, week after week after week, we hear about these massive deals for different college athletes, and even high school athletes in the NIL space. And you think about some of the deals that maybe you've heard of. Maybe there's some locally to wherever you live. Maybe there's some involving some of the programs that you root for. Maybe it's, I know I live in the Metro Detroit area near Ann Arbor, and so I see some of the local attorneys, for instance, doing a couple commercial spots with some of the Michigan football players. I've seen, in different markets, guys doing deals with car dealerships, and then they get a car to drive for a year. So you see all these different kinds of deals and these different levels of kind of where NIL is at and how big it can be. And then you see something like Nike, literally the global leader in footwear, jumping into the NIL space with some of the biggest names and some of the biggest rising stars in the sport of basketball, specifically for this quick chat. Over the past week, Nike has rolled out this kind of new roster, if you will, of young talent, kind of calling it the family. That's their little tagline. This family isn't for everyone, as they're going out there and actively selecting some of the biggest names in the sport, regardless of age. I mean, you're talking about high school seniors, freshmen in college, and then even a guy like Kevin Durant, who's involved in the marketing scheme, and we'll kind of talk about his role in that, which is just so cool. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and if I heard Kevin Durant talking about me, I'd think that was the coolest thing in the world. And he's talking about these high school juniors and seniors as they're being inked to massive NIL deals with Nike. So two of the top women's players in the country, Jazzy Davidson out of Oregon and Jersey Robinson out of California, have been inked to a Nike deal as part of this, this family isn't for everyone, as well as AJ DeBonsa, the projected number 1 overall pick in the 2026 draft. So we're talking about 3 young players here who have not even made it to college yet, entering into very, very lucrative deals with Nike. I mean, if you're a basketball player and you can sign a deal with Nike, you do it. And these kids they're kids. They're 17, 18 years old, very, very young adults, if even. And it's just, again, kind of a sign of the time, and just explains exactly how big of a deal NIL is and how it's driving so many things in sports these days. Those 3 will join Rutgers freshman duo Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper on Nike's NIL roster. And one of the reasons that this is a little bit interesting is because Rutgers is an Adidas school. Now, there's been some leaks and some things like this that make it seem like Rutgers is about to move over to Nike. And this kind of thing goes back to the AAU circuits. If a kid is playing for an Adidas AAU team, it's very likely that they're going to go to an Adidas-sponsored college. If a kid's playing for a Nike-sponsored AAU team, they're going to go to a Nike school. So this is something that we've been seeing for quite a few years in the youth basketball circuit, and that is a whole other can of worms that you can get into and talk about how shoe money has been shaping basketball rosters for a long time. But now we're seeing it a little bit more out in the open because of NIL. So again, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, big time talents expected to be top picks in next year's NBA draft, are now part of Nike's NIL roster. Again, this family is not for everyone. And then finally, All-Americans Juju Watkins at USC and Paige Buchers at UConn are also Nike athletes and have been for some time. Both of those schools are Nike-sponsored schools. So, again, just kind of making it more official. When you've got Juju Watkins, Paige Buchers, they're already wearing Nike stuff as a member of the team, the gear that they get from the school. But now they have, whatever their deal is, they're out there rocking Nike all the time as part of their deals. And again, just making this is real money. This is not a couple $100 to go, sit at a cookie shop in your hometown. This is Nike. This is how massive and how big things in the NIL world are getting. I mean, we've seen it for a couple years now. There's been guys doing deals with Lamborghini. There's been big-time athletes doing deals with Dr. Pepper. You see these every Saturday if you watch college football. And now, you've got a company like Nike, one of the most recognizable, marketable businesses and companies in the entire world, are signing these young players to deals. And it's just a really cool thing. So again, back to this family isn't for everyone. A little over a week ago, Nike Basketball's official Instagram account posted a video narrated by none other than Kevin Durant. So you've got Kevin Durant talking about Paige Buchers, talking about Juju Watkins, talking about Jersey Robinson, talking about AJ DeBonsa, and talking about Jazzy Davidson. It's just a new time. It's a new space to be in. It's really exciting. You see these kids. Again, I keep saying kids because some of them literally might not be 18 years old yet. DeBonsa is the top recruit in the 2025 class. So he's just a junior. He's a junior in high school right now. He's already being projected as the number 1 overall pick in 2026. So he's signing a massive deal with Nike. He's got other multi-million-dollar NIL deals in front of him, depending on where he goes to school. Bailey and Harper, again, they play for Rutgers, which is an Adidas school. So when they're hooping on the court, they got to wear Adidas. But when they're out in their personal lives and they're doing different things, they've been spotted in Nike gear. And again, that's maybe a sign of things to come for Rutgers when it comes to where they will sign their new apparel contract when the time comes. And I believe that's up right now. And again, these young women too, just bringing more and more exposure to that sport that's really taken off over the last year, with players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and just what they've done for that sport. NIL it's a machine. It's a locomotive, and there's a lot of people getting on track right now. I'm excited to be at Roy because of it. I'm excited to read about these deals. It's really cool to see, again, these athletes are allowed to go out there and find their true market value. And if Nike sees a lot of upside in signing these very, very prominent figures in their sport to a deal, more power to them. That's a little bit more what NIL is supposed to be about, in my opinion, as opposed to schools paying buku money just to get a player to come. That's a different story for another day. I'll actually talk about that very soon. But again, Nike, now a power player in the world of NIL, dealing with some of the most influential up-and-coming star athletes in the sport of basketball.